All right, good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast, and this is episode 284, and this is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome. And if you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PlayStation Network, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. As always, you can write our show at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. And most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends. And be sure you leave comments and rate our podcast as you see fit. And as I've been saying on the previous podcast, pause the episode right now and just go do that real quick. Give us a little share, give us a like, give us a nice little rating, and then come right back and we'll still be here for you. And as a reminder, this is a video podcast as well. You can watch the show if you prefer at our YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe to that. And the new and or longtime listener spiel, we have a Patreon where you can support the show for $1. And it's a $1 level. It's called the one and only $1 Club, suitably. So head over to www.patreon.com/PS This Is Awesome, and you can become a $1 patron of our show. For $1 a month, we'll send you one of these awesome, high-quality, super high-def, triple HD vinyl die-cut stickers in the mail and give you a shout-out. And we do appreciate all of our current patrons, so thank you very much, and thanks for coming back today. And with that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I just got back from golf, which was kind of weird. So this kind of mentioned on the show before, there's this golf course that's right next to my house that you can just go walk. And I just played 9 holes really quick, shot a 39,
God,
which was pretty fucking good for me. I don't usually shoot that well. So I had basically I had +3 and it was all on 2 holes. I had a double and a single bogey.
On 9.
So I had so I basically had 7 pars, a double bogey, and a single bogey.
That's
which is
crazy.
Fucking amazing for me. I never play that.
Did you cut any corners at all? Any mulligans?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope. I didn't.
Wow.
I didn't take any drops. So there was one thing that I did.
Yeah.
I hit the ball and it trickled like a foot into this brush that's like waist deep.
Right.
So I pulled it out into the grass so that I could hit it, because
Sure.
you can't fucking hit it out of waist deep grass.
And it's not really a well-maintained course anyway, so.
Right. So that's the only thing that I did, which I consider to be a reasonable cheat, if you will. The one thing though is that, so the last time I was there, there's this lady who works there, and I had heard all over town that it's free to walk this course. So I talked to her. I was like, hey, I heard it's free. What's going on? Like, what's the deal? She's like, yeah, it's free to walk. If you want, you can rent a cart, but it's free to walk. Just come whenever you want, and you can walk 9 holes. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. So today I go down there, I walk 9 holes, I get in my car, and as I'm leaving, I see on the sign 9 holes, $7.
What?
So now I'm like, did I just fucking steal 9 holes of golf? So like, I have to call them tomorrow and be like, hey,
I just played 9 holes.
You guys charge?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even gonna say. I'm like, are you guys charging for golf now? Because like, I need to fucking know. Like,
$7
I don't want to just walk
still
out on the
nothing,
course.
but yeah.
It's still nothing. Yeah, you're right. But it's like, I don't want to steal fucking golf if it's. But I'm kind of irritated at the same time that the fucking lady told me that I could literally just year round come golf whenever the fuck I want, and now they're charging money for it. So it's like, make up your fucking mind.
Dude, you know what happened? You know what happened? Some opportunistic person was like, some local was like, I'm going to put a sign up, says $7, put your money here, and no one will be the wiser. And then every fucking day I'm going to check the bucket and take the money home.
Well, there's no bucket. I mean, I'm assuming you have to go inside, but.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So, but other than that, just got back from
That's like
vacation in
shit.
Florida.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, we were talking golf briefly. I just want to brag a little bit. I'm in this golf league, and the owner of the course that we play on every Monday, he goes by Coach, and I don't mean to talk disparagingly about my father's golf game, but he is not good. Like, he used to be good. I don't know what's gotten into it. Like, he's duffing it all the time. Like, his approach shots are always way too hard. He is better at putting than me, though. So he saves us on the putt, but everything else, his drives are almost always worthless. So when we're doing a 2-man scramble, it's really just my ball. So, like, it's really difficult to, like, be competitive when everyone else in the league is, like, really decent, or at least half okay, right? So I've been encouraging my dad to get out to the driving range. And we don't do it to compete. I could care less, but I don't like holding people up, you know? And when he's duffing them all the time and they're just like, all right, then we got to go get his ball. And then, you know, we're always pit stopping. And it's just like, it's kind of frustrating for me. I love him to death. I wouldn't ever talk bad about him, but we're in this situation now where he's not great. I'm not great. Like like a good round of 9 for me is like I'd be like really happy with myself is like a 42 right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm usually shooting around 44, 45, maybe a little, just not too much higher than that. But I'm doing all right and I'm getting better. And I've had this crazy slice. I've had it forever. And I don't know what the hell I'm doing different. I'm using the same club, the same stance. I think it's the same swing. Maybe I've got a little more follow through on my swing. I feel like I'm like going more towards the hole when I'm coming around. But like, so we're playing the owner of the course who's like in his 80s and he's playing the gold tees, you know. But dude, he is so good. Like, he is so good. Like, his drives are amazing. And like, usually when men get old, their golf swing just goes to shit. Like, there's no form, there's nothing. They just, like, if they make contact, they're happy, and it's just usually like a little pop shot, right? Like, this dude is good, and he's like pushing 90, and he's a great putter. His chip shots are great. Every time we've ever played him and this other guy, the owner's got a huge cigar in his mouth hanging out, like you would expect, like a rich old guy that owns a golf course, right? He doesn't even drive if his partner has a great drive. He's like, no. And his voice is always messed up. He sounds like a mob boss. He's like, I don't even drive. And, you know, he gets a good hit and we go. And I'm like, all right, man. So I was crushing the fuck out of my drives. Straight as an arrow. I don't know what I did last Monday. Every drive was like 280. Like, I don't know what I was doing, and it was soggy out. So it was like hitting and barely going anywhere. We finished up, and like, we suck still. Like, I could get us like 100 yards out on a par 4 on some holes, and we would still get like a 6 on a scramble. Because we were 3 putting, maybe 2 putting, but like the approach shots weren't always great, and then he was duffing stuff, and I was getting close enough, but not close enough to lock in par for us. You know, nothing guaranteed, but my drives were amazing the whole time. Anyways, they kicked our asses. We have they use handicaps in this league, so our handicap's high. So we're like ranked 15 out of like 30 teams, and we shouldn't be. Everyone hates us because when they play us, they have to like get eagles to beat us. And if I'm having an okay day, then they're like, what the fuck's going on? Did you guys like scam the handicap? You know, everyone's like, I'm like, no, dude, like it's him over here. And you know, when we have bad days, when I have a bad day, there's nothing worth saving here. Like, it's just, I'm shitty and he's just always shitty. So like, if I'm having a good day, then the handicap really works to our advantage. But anyways, we finish up and coach comes up to me and he pulls me aside and he goes, you hit a big ball. I'm like, hey, thanks, man. I said, I don't know what I did. And he goes, you hit a big ball. And like, he walked away into the sunset, and I was like, what higher praise than like some 88-year-old owner of a golf course that his whole life has been golf, apparently, and he's solid. He was impressed by my drive, so I've got my drive figured out. But dude, I got to get the rest of my game figured out, man. Putting those greens at Whispering Pines are really, really difficult. I don't know if you remember them, dude. Every putt is it's gonna break like, I don't know, 5 feet. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. So anyways, I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow. Knocking on wood, hopefully my drive is still there. I don't know what the hell I did, but it's got to get in the right mindset. Now I'm going to go expecting to be able to hit them like that, and you know damn well it ain't going to happen. And I'm just going to it's going to ruin my whole game. I'm just going to be really pissed off about not being able to do that. Who knows? Maybe my father will come out swinging a big ball. You never know. So, anyways, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's tough. It's my grandpa went through the same kind of thing. I mean, he can't golf anymore, but when I was growing up, my grandpa went through the same thing. He golfed his whole life, and he always played pretty well. And it's just like, I think when you get older, you tighten up and you don't have as much range of motion, and it throws off your swing because you can't swing the way you used to, and then you have to relearn how to swing with your new form, and it's tough. And I'm sure your dad probably, like that guy, that owner, he plays every day.
Yeah, dude.
Whereas like your dad plays once a week for,
what's it?
A little bit
For 9 holes, once a week.
And he's just hitting it because you guys are playing a scramble.
Right,
like
he's just
there's
hitting it and
nothing on the
praying.
line, So like, I get it, but
He also
that's
thinks
cool, man.
it's his vision, which could be the case. Like depth perception when you're swinging at a ball, dude, you could really be topping, getting too low on it. Like if your vision is kind of jacked, I told him, I said, you need to go see an eye doctor. He keeps saying he thinks it could be his vision. So I don't know. I've heard every single excuse on the golf course from everybody. You know what I mean? This damn club. I need to get a new club. This one's always, I used Johnny's club and I had no problems. It's my club. And then, you hear stuff like all kinds of stuff, I had it teed a little too low, or, every single excuse on the golf course of why the ball didn't do what you wanted it to do. I've heard it all at this point. I've said half of them. But yeah, I mean, he keeps saying he's not sure he's seeing the ball right when he's lining up to hit it. And I'm like, well, maybe you do need to go to a vision guy. So I don't know. There's so many things. There's headspace in golf. There's form, like you're saying. There's correct posture. There's correct swinging. Dude, it takes every ounce of everything working correctly to hit that ball right. And it's crazy. It is. It's just practice and repetitiveness is how you get good at it. So I don't play nearly enough. I want to go out more than I do. I really don't go out outside of the league either. But when I'm hitting well, I really enjoy it. So anyways, man, I'm glad you're back from vacation. I'm glad that you're putting some golf in, and we'll have to find out if you're a criminal here soon. You have to follow up on it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, Jake, we do this thing on the show where we talk about games that we're playing, and I'd like to do that briefly. And I sent you a message when you were on vacation, and everybody knows, because I said last week that I'm playing Aliens Dark Descent. And I came into this game real hot on it. And although my tone has not changed, because I love the moment-to-moment gameplay, and I love what it's doing, I will say this. 2 things. I know the game's supposed to be difficult. I get it. I 100% get that. And I know it's kind of like one of those XCOM games, but it's real-time strategy, I guess. And some of those games will have like an overall countdown timer. And when it exhausts, human race is gone. As I found out in Aliens Dark Descent, there is nuclear bombardment that happens on the planet that you're currently stuck on if you do not finish the game within the time limit they give you. I guess it's not transparent, but like, for instance, and this is minor spoiler, is you're running a mission, and the mission that you start running, so for the first 4 missions, there's no timer, none. And then you're doing this mission where you're trying to recover some sort of power source because you're in a downed ship, and the ship is going to be attacked. The planet you're on is going to be attacked and nuked because it's full of aliens. You need to get the ship off of the planet, and that's how you beat the game. I'm on a mission that essentially is to get the power thing from this colony, retrieve it, and bring it back to my ship, and that's going to restore. They make it seem like this is what you need to take off. And it says you've got, for me, I believe it was like 40 days till planet bombardment, nuclear bombardment or whatever. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm way ahead of schedule. I wonder why they're just now showing me the timer. But I'm like, I'm on a mission. It's going to get me the fuck off the planet right now. So every step you take, like every extra day you spend not running a mission counts as a day. In that moment, I believe I had like 3 or 4 Marines that needed patched up in the med bay, and you only have so many physicians. So when you, if I have like each physician point per day gets your Marines 1 day closer to being able to be deployed. And depending on how fucked up they got on the previous mission, they could be out of the fight for 10 days. Right? They could be out for 10 days. And if it's a really good Marine, and there's already a penalty for sticking around on base that long, is that the alien infestation of the planet goes up the longer you wait. So the game intrinsically just gets more difficult the more you fuck around on base. So there's incentive to keep moving. But I'm like, I've got 40 days. So I run a few more missions, and I'm taking care of my Marines. I'm making sure that when I get out, and I'm running like 2 or 3 days for these missions. Like I'll send my team in. Like I told you in the last podcast, I had a plan. I'd send in a group. We get most of the shit done. And then, after we get most of the shit done, I'll send them back to the APC. We evac. I start healing them, and I send in my backup group. And then we finish out the mission. Well, that takes 2 fucking days. And then 3 days to recover, maybe longer, depending on how messed up the guys are. So this timer comes on around mission 4. I don't know, but I think there's 13 missions. And they give you 40 days to do whatever that math is, right? 9 more missions. And if you're playing it kind of safe at all, that clock's going to fucking expire and you're not going to be able to fucking beat the game. So I had 20 plus hours in this game. I'm on mission 7. In this countdown, so when I got the power source thing, the countdown timer fucking stays. And I'm like, well, maybe if I just run one more mission, that'll reset it, right? And there are things that happen in between missions. It's random number generation. You have a random scenario that'll come up. They're gonna be like, oh, we've uncovered some new fucking tech. You can choose to have all your Marines exhausted, but add 4 more days to your timer, or not do anything and leave the timer where it's at. And it's like, so then once in a while that'll pop up and you can tack on a few more days to this countdown timer. But to me, it's completely random in between missions. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not fucking playing this game. It is a stressful game. It's a hard game. I'm enjoying the game-to-game beats. It's fun. The cutscenes are great. The story's fantastic. I am powering through, and last I checked, well, I know where I'm at now, but as of this morning, I had like 4 days left. And I'm like, this means I have to successfully run the next 3 or 4 missions essentially in one take. And when you return from a mission, it progresses you to the next day in hope that I get a random thing that adds like a couple more days on this timer, and then maybe I can fucking beat the game. So running through it, I had some really good Marines die. So I pushed forward. Either I'm at the final mission right now with 1 day remaining, and I'm using 4 of Marines. I can deploy 5 if they're all healed. I can't wait another day because I tried it, and you don't even get a fucking cutscene of a nuclear bombardment. It just goes, the planet bombardment timer is up. Do you want to reload from a saves point or go back to the main menu? That's literally the fucking options. And it's like, I have like 25 fucking hours in this game, and you're just going to fucking cut me off right now in the middle of the story and just say that the planet got bombed and not even give me a fucking cutscene? Like, it's a bunch of bullshit, man. It's some chicken shit, dude. And I get that the game's supposed to be tough, but what the fuck is that? Like, I feel like I love this game, but I'm so angry at it. So and it is buggy. So there are some bugs. And there's a thing when you're running missions that the alien hive will release an onslaught. And it's if you've been too loud, if you've killed too many aliens on the section of the planet that you're in, they literally run like 20 some aliens at your crew, you have like, I don't know, 20 seconds to prepare for it, which means you set down sentry guns, you get some people doing some line, like not line of sight, but maybe it is like a line of sight suppressing fire shit. And if you hit the aliens suppressing fire when they're coming at you, they all slow down, and then your turrets can just fucking mow them up. But that's if you have turrets, and turrets are hard to come by. So while this is going on, you can't do any of the main mission activities. You have to survive the onslaught. So this is where I am today, 1 day left, towards the end of what I think might be the final mission, and an alien onslaught hits. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking do this. And I did. I regulated on them. In fact, I called the APC to the area, and it has a big cannon. It's just like blasting these fuckers. I'm like, I'm going to fucking do this with 4 Marines instead of 5. I'm going to fucking get through this. I got to get through this set of doors. So alien onslaught is over, but the game doesn't think that it's over. They quit attacking. I get the message that the onslaught is over, but in the upright corner, it still says alien onslaught incoming. It never fucking comes. So now I can't get through the double doors to beat the mission, and I'm in this save point that, like, I'm kind of fucked. So, and it's at the very end of the fucking game, I think. And I need to know if this is the last mission. And everywhere I've gone online, I can't figure out, and I checked the trophies, and I think, because what they've done in the past on different missions is like you'll beat a mission, and then it will segue into a part that doesn't take a day. It's just like back on the ship, and then you're like the main character, and then you can beat this mission where like you're trying to do something. And if that's how this game wraps up, I can beat it from where I'm at with 1 day remaining. If there is in fact one more mission after this mission, I've got no chance in hell in beating this game unless I restart from the top. So I can't even figure this out because it requires the game to not be broken for me to get through this doorway. And I don't know if they're going to patch this shit, but there's apparently an alien onslaught and there's not one. And it's keeping me, because when I go to interact with the elevator to get down to the next basement floor, it just says you can't do this during an onslaught. And I'm like, there's no fucking onslaught. So maybe I need to re-trigger another onslaught, but I don't know if you can if it thinks there is one. So I could back it up a little bit further, but I'm just fucking lucky to be where I'm at with 4 Marines, and I don't want to fucking go through the bullshit again. This is my update on Alien Dark Descent. It is so close to perfect. Get rid of the fucking world timer, or give me the option to toggle it, right? They do give you settings that on, when you start your first game, you don't realize what this is because it doesn't tell you ever. But you can actually change. You can do custom settings, and then instead of having like 40 days, you can give yourself like 65 days, which is more than enough. I would think, especially if you make the game easy. You could probably run right through it and get all the trophies. But there's a trophy for beating the game on normal difficulty that I want so badly. I don't want to dump all this time back into it. So the countdown timer is fucked, and then there should not be a bug that prevents you from advancing the mission. And there is apparently on whatever mission I'm on towards the very end. So, dude, that's where I'm at. I still, if you like these kinds of games, even with how pissed off I am about it, it is very fun. It's a little buggy. It's clearly made for like PC. It's one of those games that would be way easier on a PC, I think. And it's probably how they ported it to console. It's fucked up. But I think the PC version is pretty good from what I understand. But dude, that's where I'm at. That's all I have to say. I'm just like agitated over this because I chose to push forward, and it robbed me maybe now of another 5 hours because now I'm on this other fucking mission. At all odds, fighting the timer, and I'm at where I think I need to be, and I can't progress it without maybe backing up and restarting this fucking mission. And it's not an easy mission, dude. And they take a while. So I don't know. I'm done rant. I'm going to stand up and plug my mouse in because it's dying and I need it. So go ahead, Jake. What are you playing?
I'm just playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I took the Switch on vacation with me because it's a good traveling piece. And so basically I was playing that at the house when we were relaxing. And a little bit. I played it a little bit. I'm not really a big I'm not really that into like playing games and shit on the plane and stuff. I'd rather just like listen to something and close my eyes and like try to sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
So I played it a little bit in the airport when we were waiting for the plane, but yeah, mostly just playing through that. It's fine. I do think it's a good game. I am impressed by it. My tolerance for it ebbs and flows a little bit. I do think that I do still think it's a little bit overrated. It's got some very very antiquated gameplay mechanics in it. It reminds me of like almost playing an N64 game in a lot of ways. But it is still really kind of neat. So I don't really have a lot to say about it. We don't have to linger. I'm still kind of playing that, and I'll probably jump back into Diablo because I do want to finish the campaign on that. And then I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about Final Fantasy 16, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, man, yeah, I don't know. I've never been on a commercial plane, and it scares the shit out of me, the thought of it. I understand that everyone's it's safer than fucking driving and shit. Yeah, but your odds of surviving if there is a problem is so much less. I don't know. I know everybody does it all the time, man. It's just this weird. My mom's afraid of flying, so as kids, we drove everywhere on our vacation. So I never got that exposure that I probably should have had as a youth.
Have you ever flown on a plane?
Oh, man. My dad says I did. When I was a kid, I think he had me up in like a crop duster once, which is probably immensely more scary. I remember
way more scary.
Dude, I remember being in a helicopter looking out like the sliding door or something. And he's like, no, dude, that was a crop duster. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, we were looking out the thing. And I was like, dude, I don't remember at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like, I understand. I do understand why people are afraid of flying. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, it's safer than driving. So there is that part of it. The only thing about flying is that, like, if something goes wrong, you can't jump out of a plane. You can kind of jump out of a car if you really needed to.
Yeah, if it catches on fire, like, you can always hit the brakes and try to evac, right? I guess.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
People, I think people think about it too much. It's really hard. Like, you got to just not think about it. Like, what scares people a lot, I think, is the takeoff. And also turbulence. And I think another big part of it too is just they cram you in those planes like fucking sardines. Like, it's insane how small the seats are. Like, I feel bad for people that are overweight on planes because, dude, I am a small person. I'm 5'7", and I'm pretty athletically built, and I feel cramped sitting in an airplane seat with the people next to me. So, like, you can imagine somebody who's like, somebody your size would probably feel about the same as me because I doubt you're that much wider than I am. You're just taller.
Yeah.
But, like, if you were overweight at all, you know, you have to worry about, like, are you encroaching on someone else's seat? Like, that's probably the worst part, but it's probably like the least scary. I think that there's just a lot of emotions that get into planes when people are crammed, and a lot of times flights are late, so people's schedules are all fucked up. Did my bag get there? Was I able to get my bag in fucking the overhead bin? You just gotta have good strategy, and don't ever plan anything else the day that you're flying. We got lucky yesterday that our plane was not delayed because I guess forgot that we had a show that day. But it all worked out. So
yeah, I just saw you yesterday in person. Yeah, we just played a gig. That was fun. That was a cool spot, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's not. I think at this point, my only exposure to airplanes has been all of the negative, right? Like in the movies, like Final Destination, like the movies like Garden State. And then I have an overactive imagination, and I tend to gravitate towards shitty things. And I just imagine what the panic would be like on an airplane going down, and just like, that is not how I want to go. Like, it would be the most terrifying thing, I think. It'd be fucking tragic as shit. I can't imagine. So to risk that, even though it's not much of a risk, there's still like a fraction of a percent of that could happen. And like it's just like.
So you would rather like you have probably a 20 times more likely chance of being killed by a drunk driver driving down the road than you do dying in a plane crash.
But I can't like take a plane to work.
A plane crash would be crazy.
Yeah.
You it scares you. I don't know. I get it. It's just one of those things where like I don't know. I get it.
Yeah, no,
I think
I don't know.
Everybody should force themselves to do it at least once just to kind of, have that exposure, because there really is like once you realize that like some parts of it that are shitty, but like once you realize that like like you want to go to Florida for a vacation, for example, like we did, like I literally saved 4 vacation days by flying down.
Yeah.
If we drove and we didn't like literally fucking go straight through without stopping or sleeping or anything, we would have lost basically probably more like 3 days of vacation to driving. So it's definitely worth it, but I understand if people don't want to do it. It's nothing that I ever want to fault anyone.
I'm not judging anyone for taking an airplane. I just think you're all fucking crazy. No, I'm just kidding. Dude, I think like if I knew how to fly a plane, like I'd be less like freaked out by it. Like I'm a control person. Like, same reason I don't really enjoy roller coasters and stuff. I don't like relinquishing control of my fate. Like I don't mind it when it's just like, oh, you're at work, you gotta do what someone says. Like I don't give a shit. Yeah, sure, fine. But like when my safety is at play and I have to trust somebody else with my safety, then I'm not sure that I like that. You know what I mean? Like I want to be in charge of my own safety. And giving that up is scary to me. That's all.
I feel you with the roller coasters thing. I don't have the problem with airplanes because I've been flying on them since I was like 2 years old. But like roller coasters, until recently, I've been terrified to even get on them. Like I fucking hated them, and it's a lot of it has to do with the that like I fucking hate that like slow climb to the top of the hill thing.
Looking
like,
over the edge.
It makes me want to. It literally makes me want to kill myself because I'm so anxious. And like once it's moving, I'm fine. But it's that like anxiety of getting to the top of the hill, seeing that you're like 1,000 feet off of the ground, and then not knowing when you're gonna
drop,
like, and not being able to get off. Like you're stuck. And the thing that kind of broke me of that a little bit was there's this ride at Universal that we did, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember. No, it was longer than that. It was maybe almost 10 years ago because we were with it was before Sarah and I got married. And it's the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk roller coaster. And the way that it works is that immediately when the roller coaster starts, you go up the big hill, but the whole hill going up is inside of a tunnel.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you can't
that'd be
see
great.
Going out of it. So you're like going up, you can't see. And then suddenly it accelerates and shoots you out of the fucking tunnel. And at the top, instead of just going straight down, it does this kind of curve and then kind of rolls and goes down. So like it like, I don't know. Like the first time I rode it, I was like, we're going up the hills. I can't get off. And then it like surprises you, like shooting you out. And then as soon as you roll and you're down, it's like, oh, I'm into it now. So, but I'm totally with you. I'm still fucking scared of roller coasters, but I enjoy them a lot more than I used to, just because, I kind of just pretend like I'm controlling it. Like we did this past, like when we were just in Florida, we went back to Universal to do there's all that Harry Potter stuff there.
Yeah.
And Sarah's super into Harry Potter, so I took her there as kind of like a birthday present. And they had this new ride called Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure or something. And it's like a motorcycle and a sidecar, but it's a roller coaster. And one of you sits on the motorcycle and one of you sits on the sidecar. And Sarah's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, give me the fucking motorcycle, because I want to feel like I'm like controlling it. You know what I mean? And it does help. Like, it helps so much to just be like, you see the car and you're like, okay, I'm riding the fucking motorcycle.
Yeah.
And you just put yourself in that brain space. And even though you really can't do anything about it, it like, I don't know. This is not even remotely video game.
Yeah, dude. We're both horses that need blinders. That's just it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Same with those, and then we'll get on to the listener feedback here in a minute, but it's like same with those people that can like climb stairs that you can like see through the stairs, but like you're way, way super high, even though you have railings and shit. Like, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
No, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
Like especially when like they have those skyscrapers where they have like the knockouts where it's like glass so you can stand out over like open air or whatever. It's spooky shit.
Yeah, I don't like it. I just don't like it. All right. Anyways, every show we talk about listener feedback from the previous episodes, and we're gonna talk real quick. We got some feedback this episode, so thank you for writing in. And Big Box writes in, and he says, "Hey, I appreciate response to the PSTIA origin story question last week or this week. I'm gonna offer some unsolicited feedback. All right, let's hear it." He goes, "I found you guys because I started searching PlayStation podcast and set search results to last week on YouTube. The reason why I did that is because I started noticing the bigger podcasts I've been listening to had a bad mixture of shill plus fanboy vibe to them. Hosts had a veneer of fakeness to them. Every big AAA exclusive was so good, and every news story was spun in a predictable direction. Example, the ABK deal. That kind of bored me. What does that mean? Was ABK? Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I never heard it called that. And it says, you two passed the authenticity test. Fred, you're a likable host who plays weird shit, like Ghosts and Goblins on his PS5 for some reason. Jake has an obvious personality flaw for not liking roguelites, yet he enjoys the IRL roguelite called Hockey. It's your blemishes that make you relatable. My dumb peanut gallery advice: you guys are a lunch table in a cafeteria. All the tables represent different podcasts. There's people meandering around listening to different conversations. You got to find, quote unquote, your people to sit down and join your table. My smart, wise advice: don't listen to free advice. By the way, my lawyer will be serving you papers next week for stealing my likeness and putting the Big Box name at risk in Dark Descent. Irreparable harm. Dude, I love it when you write in. Thank you so much for that. If we could find our people, if I knew how to find them, I would. I don't know how to find them. You know what I mean? But I'm okay feeling like the underdog or like the weird group. You know what I mean? Like we're the table in the lunchroom that like, you know, we're not popular, we're not cool, we're just kind of fucking nerds, man. And yeah, I'll play Ghosts and Goblins on PS5 for sure. So we play some weird shit, man. I don't know, we do, if I'm being completely transparent, there's definitely some fanboy shit here as far as Naughty Dog. Jake and I love Naughty Dog. You know, we've been at Sony. I've been a Sony person for a long time. Clearly Jake has an Xbox and the PS, you know, PlayStation 5 and shit, and he does some gaming stuff on his PC once in a while. If I had a PC, I'd probably be talking about some PC games here and there. I just don't have one. I have a Mac. But yeah, man, I appreciate the free advice. I don't know. I mean, your advice is good. I just don't know how to execute that. You know, I'm not sure how we find our people except for just keep doing it the way we do it. You know, we're not going to be buying advertising space on other people's podcasts and stuff. I don't know. I don't know how to do it, you know, so we're just going to keep doing what we do, and hopefully the listeners show up and stick around a little longer. And I appreciate it, Big Box. Thank you so much for writing in. Jake, you have anything to say about that? He's not going to
attacking me about fucking roguelikes.
He's not going to let it go.
No, it's awesome. Like it's cool to hear that somebody was able to find us through YouTube, because we never really think about that at all. I mean, we put our shit on YouTube now. We didn't always do that. And it seems like
that's the way.
It's something that people are seeing, and we're getting a lot of traction there. And with the shorts and stuff, I think that helps a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to do a podcast where I'm pretending to be something that I'm not, or pretending to be interested in something that I'm not. So, I mean, we've already mentioned on the podcast before, last week or the week before, that we're not going to even cover all the news, because I can't pretend to be excited about news points that are fucking boring to me.
Yeah.
I mean, there like I put together the news this week, and there were probably half a dozen news points that I just didn't even put in because I was like, this is the most boring fucking shit on the planet.
Yeah, Jake prepped the news this show, so it's on him.
Like I don't, you know, it's a lot of stuff that's like, you know, like, you know, Assassin's Creed developer talks about how the new fucking guy walks around. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, everybody's played at least one Assassin's Creed game usually. So, like, I don't know that we really need to have a whole news topic about it. Or it's something about, like, oh, did you know that FIFA Football Club's next game is going to come out in August? It's like, yes, every year it fucking comes out in August. I don't know that it needs to be a news point or whatever. I don't know if it's August. I'm just making shit up. But, like, anyway, so appreciate the feedback, Big Box. Don't know how I feel about this campaign you're on against me with the fucking roguelike shit. But
that's good. It's
know,
rich.
Nice attacking my favorite sport.
I think because Big Box apparently likes roguelites, he probably likes hockey because he's calling it a roguelite. You know what I mean? I just think that he's drawn a comparison.
He must be the biggest hockey fan if he's calling it fuck.
Well, we know he's not Yamir, not Yager. And he said he wasn't.
He's not Yamir Yager. He speaks his English is too good. But yeah. Maybe what I'll do is I'll only play roguelikes from now on. And then you'll see how miserable I am on the fucking podcast.
Please don't make him do that. That'd be bad.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Continue.
Moving on. One Black Talon wrote in, and this is for you, Jake. He says, can Jake speak on how Diablo 4 is when there are other players in the game? Has he had to team up with any of them to take down a boss? Thanks. And I said, yeah, we can talk about that. I don't know if you've done this or how this works. And I don't have Diablo, so I thought I'd let you talk on this for a second.
So, in my experience, it is a lot like Destiny, if you've played Destiny. So, it's a shared world. So, other people are running around, and a lot of times there are these, like, random, like, public events that happen and shit where, like, oh, you know, you'll walk into an area and there's like a you know, villager that's like stuck underneath a cart and you got to protect him from all these enemies that are attacking or whatever. And then like all of the players that are in the area can choose to participate or not. It's not mandatory. So all of my interactions with other players have been things like that, where it's like public event type stuff, random encounter type things. Occasionally, like, I'll be running into an area and another guy will be there and I'll be fighting off some guys and he might come in and like help me kill the rest of them. He or she might come in and help me kill the rest of them. And then we just kind of run off on our separate directions. Like none of it is organized. Like I'm saying as far as my experience, like I'm not reaching out to any of these players. I'm sure I have the option to if I want to. I can look at, you know, the players that are in my server and reach out to them if I want or whatever. But that's just not, you know, that's not the way I play games. So I play it like the way that I play Destiny. You know, I acknowledge the other players in the world. I'll participate in public events with them, like these random encounter things that happen. I will maybe help them out if I'm running around and they're like taking on a group of enemies or something like that. But as far as like actively teaming up with other people, I've not done that. I haven't, but I'm also not in the end game yet. It's possible that once you get to the end game, it's necessary.
Are there like raids like in Destiny?
Now, I don't know that there are raids, but there are dungeons. Like Destiny has these like very complicated, very they're almost handcrafted raids that are very, very skill and coordination based. I don't know that Diablo has anything like that, but you can do like dungeons together and that kind of stuff. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm not. I'm thinking that there's probably a lot more of that going on in the end game, but I'm not there yet, so I can't really speak fully on it. But for now, it's mostly like random coordination type stuff, whether it be a public encounter event or, you know, just running across the guy that needs a little help or something. But like I said, there's no chatting going on. You know, we just literally kind of do whatever together, and then we just run off in our own directions because we each got our own thing going on. So that's sort of where I'm at with it. But yeah, that's really all the experience I have, I guess.
All right. Well, thanks for answering that for One Black Talon. And yeah, dude, let's get on with the news. First news point of the show is kind of.
I mean, do you want me to just do it?
Yeah. Why don't you do it? And I'll keep track of all the times.
Okay. Since I put it together, it might be a little bit easier for me to just sort of run the news.
Do it.
So we haven't really talked about Beyond Good and Evil 2 a lot on this podcast because it was announced like literally 10,000 years ago, and it's never even been remotely close to finish.
Elijah
Wood
like
was the longest. Involved. Was he?
When it got announced, he was like head of the company that was like doing the whole community art thing.
Oh, that's right. There was some weird shit going on. Well, are you sure it was Elijah? Because his brother is in video games.
I'm not sure, but that's what I
he
remember.
might have been involved. I don't know. It's really weird. So anyway,
sorry, I threw you off your fucking talk. Go, do it.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. So the creative director of Beyond Good and Evil 2, his name is EMILE MOREL. Apparently, he passed away recently at the age of 40, which is fucking depressing. Because I mean, Fred, you're north of 40.
Yeah,
I'm coming up on 40 here in a few years.
I'm 42.
So it's pretty wild to think about, and I didn't see any reports. I didn't go digging on like what happened to him and all this stuff. But when you see somebody dying this young, it really kind of makes you contemplate morality a little bit, or mortality, I guess, a little bit, not morality. I mean, maybe morality depending on the circumstances of the death or whatever, but this developer, I guess, a Ubisoft guy, also worked on Rayman Legends during his 14-year tenure at Ubisoft. So, you know, he worked on some games that people really liked Rayman Legends, and I know people really liked the first Beyond Good and Evil. That's why they're coming out with a second one. And this guy was apparently, they've argued for years about how this game is going to look and how it's going to play. It took forever for it to even, I mean, it might still be in pre-production for all I know. But this guy was being tasked as the creative director, and he unfortunately passed away at the young age of 40. So it's kind of depressing, and wish the best to his family and hopefully and the team involved and everybody else who knew him. That sucks. And I hope that whoever kind of takes up his mantle is able to leave a little bit of his flavor in the game should it ever come out. I don't know if you have any opinions on that, but
I just wonder if maybe this dude, and I don't mean to inject any speculation, but my brain is thinking from the aspect of being a gaming podcast and the trouble this game has found trying to get started up or whatever. If this guy was like head of the whole thing, maybe he was terminally ill or something and just wasn't able to like direct this thing the way that needed directed. You know, I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just speculating. But
I thought you were gonna say like, oh, maybe some fucking disgruntled Beyond Good and Evil fan killed him or something.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, you know, you can get some
that
serious.
It could definitely play a role
and stuff. Yeah,
could definitely play a role.
So maybe they were just trying not to be. I don't know. I'm gonna quit speculating, but this whole game seems to be just kind of cursed, man. Like the original was good. I played it on PC when I was a kid. I think it was PC. I don't know where the hell I played. I remember playing it and liking it, but I don't think looking back on it with what we have now in games, that game did anything particularly. Maybe it was special in its time, but I don't think that like you don't put out part 2 and blow people's minds with it. You know what I mean? It was a story-driven game. I think in its time, in its heyday, Beyond Good and Evil 1 was pretty impressive, and it had really good voice acting, and it was a good game. But I don't know, you know, if they I don't even know, man. We'll see what they're doing here. The community thing was really weird. When it got announced, they're like, oh yeah, you can put your art in this, you know, you can submit it. Here are the fucking things we're looking for. Submit it, and then our creative manager will decide if what you made was good enough or if it fits it was really weird. They were like they're like giving like open contract license to anybody, any creator, to go through this hub to try to get their art and stuff in this game, and I thought it was so weird. I don't know. Apparently it didn't work out. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It almost feels like this thing should just be canned.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's been in perpetual development forever. And I don't know. I mean, it's been 20 years since the first game came out.
Yeah.
So that's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But anyway, hope the best. Feel bad for, what's going on over there, but hopefully they're able to kind of pick things up and move along.
For sure.
News point number 2, NARAKA BLADEPOINT. Fred, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this game.
I've never heard of it.
But it's a battle royale game, but all of the players are fucking like samurai, and it's all sword fighting and shit. Like it's an awesome concept. And anyway, it's been on Game Pass and I think PC for a while. And apparently it's coming to PlayStation 5 next week, and they're switching it to a free-to-play model. So now on all platforms, so now anyone can kind of pick up and play it, which is awesome. People really like this game. And so I'll be curious to see if there are any listeners out there that check it out. You have to let me know how it is. I'm not a multiplayer gamer, so I'm probably not going to fuck with this. But from what I understand, it's a really cool game. I mean, the idea that you're it's a battle royale, but instead of being a shooter of some kind, like all these games are,
like hand-to-hand shit.
It's fucking like, it's like samurai shit. And that's really cool to me. But I wanted to note that you're like, okay, well, all these people have purchased this game and now it's going free to play. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, what it means is that free to play users will basically, they're going to have a cap on how quickly they can unlock new characters. If they purchase a version of the game, a higher tier version of the game, it will unlock these restrictions on how fastly you can unlock new characters. Basically, it's like most free to play games. It's just going to slow your progress down. But what about like the existing people that already purchased this game? What do they get, or what happens with them? Existing NARAKA BLADEPOINT owners are going to receive. So I pulled this off of Video Games Chronicle, but the way that they describe it is existing NARAKA BLADEPOINT owners will receive in-game currency depending on the edition of the game that they purchased, which can be used to unlock new heroes more quickly. So they're basically giving the people that purchased the game are getting a leg up on with some kind of currency or something that allows them to sort of basically do what someone who purchases the game now would get in the free-to-play system. So apparently you've never seen this at all, but I don't know if you have any opinions. I know that neither of us really play Battle Royale games. You play Warzone a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I'll touch on that.
But I'm curious if you would ever be interested, especially because it's a free-to-play game now, would you be interested in, and to be honest with you, like, I am interested in almost trying it just because it's free-to-play, but I know that it's not going to stick with me just because I'm just not a multiplayer gamer. But I just want to know how you feel about this kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have any idea about this game, but what I will say is that's an interesting way to provide a leg up to those who purchased it. I wonder how they feel about that. You know what I mean? Because ultimately you could still get all of that stuff if you played it for free. So are they essentially just buying the opportunity to unlock new characters sooner? Like, if that's all it is, how much did they spend on the game? You know, I feel like they should get new characters when they come out, and then have the free-to-play people have the opportunity to unlock those characters like a month later. So instead of giving them an opportunity to get something, I feel like they should probably just be handed some free characters. Like, if they release a couple free characters every month, you know,
I think it kind of boils down to like let's say you bought the game, but you already have all of the existing characters.
Yeah.
So it's like what do you get? if now that it's free to play. Well, if they give you this currency, then you can use that towards characters that have yet to be released now that they're in this new model.
Yeah.
So now you can get new characters with it versus, you know, being like, okay, well, how useful is this? I already have all the fucking characters.
They should give
what I mean?
They should give them currency that is 1-to-1 with the cost of the game. So like if they paid 60,
I'm sure that's probably something like that. I would imagine, or at least like a reasonable discount on the full price of the game, considering how long it's been out.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's an interesting way
about that.
to solve the problem. Right. We'll just see what the players have to say about it. I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Jake. What's the next news point?
So the next news point is that Ubisoft has announced the new Assassin's Creed game is called Assassin's Creed Mirage, and it takes place in ancient Baghdad, which, if you don't know, is in Iraq. This new game is supposed to basically be an homage to the first Assassin's Creed game. Go back to the old gameplay style and everything. People are really excited about it. I think it looks pretty good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Apparently, Ubisoft has announced that they're going to have a new mode, or not a new mode, but like a feature of the game called History of Baghdad. And according to Video Games Chronicle, players will be able to visit 66 historical sites throughout Baghdad where they'll unlock research-driven articles covering 5 areas: art and science, belief and daily life, court life, economy, and government.
Court life.
And a quote from Dr. Raphael Wayland, a historian working with Ubisoft Montreal, states, quote, I am proud that we did not shy away from any subject discussing sensitive and misrepresented topics such as the harem, the role of eunuchs, and slavery in a new discussing sensitive and misrepresented topics such as the harem, the role of eunuchs, and slavery in a nuanced way. So it sounds like that they are discussing they're basically presenting a sort of educational feature in this game where, as a part of playing Assassin's Creed, you can learn about the history of Baghdad, and they're talking about basically from like an actual historical real perspective. They have real historians presenting the information in this, and they're talking about not just the good shit but the bad shit that also happened back then.
I had no clue what a eunuch was, and I had to look it up. Do you know what that is?
Seriously?
Yeah, dude. I had no fucking clue. It's a dude who got castrated?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why would I know that? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it's like a thing. I mean, it's in a lot
Sure
of,
it is.
It's in a lot of historical fiction.
Yeah,
so
I've never
I don't
heard
know.
of a eunuch before.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know.
Now you know. Papa Fred told you about it.
But I don't know what your opinion is on this. I think this is cool. I like the idea of, like, if it's not ham-fisted, I love the idea of games that take place in historical settings that are meant to be like hard historical fiction, alternate timeline stuff or whatever, them giving you real information about the history of that place in a entertaining way within the gameplay. Because I think that it's cool. Like people should be more worldly. They should know more about the history of these things, because it allows us all to understand each other a little bit better and not be so quick to judge. And I think that this is a very neat feature. And I don't think it's required. I think it's all optional. So if you want to skip all this, if you know everything there is to know about Baghdad, or if you just want to fucking kill people and you don't give a shit about the history of the Sand people, then that's fine. Jesus. But I think that this is a very neat feature, and I hope that more games kind of put this kind of stuff in it. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think that that's good as long as it's not skewed in one way or the other. You know what I mean? It's hard to find all history and all stuff has some sort of slant to it, it seems like. Even in like America's schools history books, right? Like everything has like some sort of leaning one way or the other, trying to make you feel a certain way over the history of whatever. You know what I mean? Like if it's just like this shit fucking happened and this is where it is, great. Because I would like to know more about shit that went down. You know what I mean? Or things that happen in cultures. But I don't want someone to try to tell me that it was right or somebody to try to tell me something was wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping that the fact that they're using actual historians to do this, like this guy has a doctorate. I don't know anything about him, but I would presume that he's an expert in the field.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a positive, or like it makes me feel optimistic about the program. But you're right. I mean, we really need to see how it comes out and how the indigenous people of the area feel about it.
Right.
Not that, there isn't, but you are right. I mean, how do you know, like,
how do you know what you're being told?
You never really know
like,
you never really know what's real and what's not. So how can you really know? Because it's even possible that, like, let's say the people in Iraq are like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. But it's like, is it though? Or is it because your government has brainwashed you into thinking that this is bullshit? So like you never really know, but I love the concept of some educational body providing some sort of historical fact into a game that allows us to learn something about people that we don't really get to learn anything about on a regular basis.
I've learned a lot about shit playing video games, really. You know what I mean? Like, it's another way of learning. And yeah, I'm completely good with this, man. I didn't mean to shoot holes in this thing that it sounds like you're kind of jazzed about. I think it's a good idea. I think that it's important, with how little we get off the fucking couch anymore. It's important to keep people fucking dialed in to like other cultures and other people's way of living and stuff. I just don't want to be sold a fucking bag of goods. You know what I mean? That's it. Like, just fucking show me how they live. Like, I've been watching this YouTube series. There's a guy, and this is a little diversion, but it's not. And he goes around and he injects himself into other cultures and different even locale or natives of certain areas. And man, I wish I knew the name of the thing. But he recently went to Appalachia, down in West Virginia, like into all the different hollers and stuff. And he met up with this dude who grew up as a kid with his whole family working in the coal mines. And he's running around these fucking ripped apart small ass towns in West Virginia. Everything's boarded up and they've been raided for copper and fucking metal to be sold off. And there's like no businesses, and it's like just this dude's YouTube channel, and he's talking to the locals, and he's like, so, and he this dude is a local that's driving around, and he's like, so, the effect of, going clean energy. And the guy goes, well, there's a lot of misunderstanding about clean energy because, the fucking electric power plants are powered by what? He's like, unless they're running on solar panels, which, is almost impossible to power the whole world in solar panels, you're still fucking using coal. And he's like, this area, this country was built on this area, and look at it now. And you look around and he's got his fucking GoPro and it's just fucking in shambles. And people were so poverty stricken, and like homes were broken, and people got black lung and sick and all this stuff, and no one ever tried to help them out. And it's just like, man, like that's how you fucking get a real story, is you go to the locals and you talk with the locals. And these are the people living these lives.
but at the same time, it's like the locals only understand their own hardship.
Right, and
they don't know.
Right,
they don't know. But they don't know that clean energy is actually good for the problem
planet.
That they say that so like it's like I said, you never know. Like, nobody knows.
Right. So the host,
any of this shit.
The host turned it around on him and was like, well, so you're saying like it's probably better just to use more coal than electric. But he's like, isn't burning, if we're all running coal stoves in our houses, then there's more coal getting burned technically. And he's like, well, yeah. He goes, I guess you're right. He's like, and he didn't put up a fight. He's like, yeah, I mean, it's better maybe for the environment, but it's not better for this area because you can see the effect it had. But what's the solution? We're not, I don't know. They're not getting any help down there. So what's interesting about that area, what I learned, and then we'll go on to the next news point, that whole area, they're finding a way to get by, and apparently it's a really big tourist attraction for ATVs and like side-by-sides because they have really awesome terrain and trails. So they'll put people up at bed and breakfasts are just like going like mad down there because people, you know, take their side by sides or their ATVs down there, and then they'll just rent it out for a week and just go fucking mudding. And they say it's the best place to do it. So they're bringing some of the economy back, but in a really strange way, you know. But they're not really able to, like, I don't know. I just find this dude's videos really interesting. Like, he went and he spent some time with like Amish and Mennonites recently in eastern Pennsylvania, and it was really, really interesting to watch him kind of get into that culture, because it's a glimpse of life that you don't really usually get. So even though I don't get off the couch and people don't get off the couch very often, any opportunity that we can have to learn more about different cultures, I'm all for it, man. I just, like I said, just don't sell me a bill of goods. Like, I don't want a snake oil salesman popping out of my video games being like, oh yeah, by the way, this was right, or this is wrong what they did here. This is, you know, this is the right, like, because there is history to everything, and there's a reason, you know. I don't think anyone in the world would ever say the Salem witch trials were like correct looking back at it, but like in the time, everybody fucking thought it was the right thing to do. Most people did. You know, they all fucking drank the Kool-Aid.
Sure.
So like, perspective can change over time, you know. But it is curious, dude. I'm curious to hear and see how they implement this. Now, the problem is I'm never going to fucking buy Assassin's Creed Mirage, so I'll never personally know, because this game doesn't interest me at all. But I hope that it's informational. I'd like to see this happen in more games. In fact, I think
I can see myself maybe playing this game. I don't know if it's going to be something. I mean, it'd have to really be scoring roll. It would have to really be a banger for me to buy it at launch. But I could see myself maybe definitely playing this on like a sale or something.
Yeah, get on a Ubisoft sale or something. And
like the last one I really played was Unity, and I really liked it up until the very end, and then I just got sick of it and gave up. But I don't know. We can move on.
Sounds like Dark Descent.
So as we kind of brought up earlier, or Big Box, I guess, brought up with his comment about the ABK deal, Activision Blizzard King, for those of you that don't know.
King? What's King? Explain this to me.
King is they're a mobile company. They make like Candy Crush and all that
Oh, shit. I didn't even know they were involved. This is how out of touch I am, dude. I'm transparent.
So it's a single company. Activision, Blizzard, and King are all one company.
Oh, okay.
And Microsoft is trying. That's why it's $70 billion, is because you know, it's not just a Call of Duty. It's also Candy Crush and all this other shit that's like makes way more money than a lot of.
Dude, I looked at that acronym. The first thing I thought of was the BTK killer. I don't know why. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
But anyway, they're in they're in court right now for like the FTC is like trying to block the deal and all this stuff. And some of the information that has come out of it is pretty interesting. Basically, these are Microsoft expectations of Sony hardware releases in the near future. So this isn't fact. This isn't straight from Sony. This is what Microsoft thinks Sony is going to do in the next year or so. And basically what they've found in the FTC filings is that Microsoft thinks that, quote, PlayStation likewise sells a less expensive digital edition of the PS5 for $399.99 and is expected to release a PlayStation 5 Slim later this year at the same reduced price point. So I think what they're saying here is that the current digital edition, which is $400, is going to be cheaper, and they're going to have a slim version that's going to be $400. They're going to have a slim version of the main PS5 that's going to be $400. I think is what he's saying, or what Microsoft is saying. And then the second quote here is that Sony is also, quote, Sony is also anticipated to release a handheld version of the PlayStation 5 later this year for under $300. So I think what they're referring to is the Project Q streaming device.
Yeah.
And they think that it's going to be under $300, which that could be $299. But
if their scouting report
I just think that this is interesting. That's their scouting report of the PlayStation hardware. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, so point A, I think you got it kind of right. The way I interpret it is that they're talking that PlayStation has two SKUs, right? They have the physical disc version, and then they have a less expensive digital edition for $399. And they're expected to release a PlayStation 5 Slim later this year at that reduced price point of $399. I don't think it's going below $399. I think that they're just inferring that the digital edition is less expensive than the physical edition, and they're going to release a PlayStation 5 Slim later at that reduced price point at the $399. And does the PlayStation 5 Slim have a spot for a disc is the question. And if it does, then that's where it's at. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, my instinct tells me that they're going to get rid of the digital edition and they're just going to have one SKU and it's going to be $400.
Yeah, and it's going to be a Slim with a disc.
Yeah. Maybe a detachable disc driver or something.
That's right.
Maybe you can get like the Slim for $350 and then the Slim with the detachable disc drive for $400 or
in
something.
A box. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. But how do you feel about like them saying the Q Lite is going to be under $300?
It makes sense.
About, but it better be, or otherwise no one's going to fucking buy it.
I mean, you and I could call that, right? Like, I mean, they could have sent us out to.
In my opinion, this thing better be like $200.
It better not be $299. And I know J1 was excited about this one, but also J1, you should know. You are one of my surviving Marines, and unfortunately, Big Box, you can't sue me because you're already dead in the game. So that's a side.
Yeah, Big Box, fuck you, you're dead.
Yeah, dude. You bit the dirt, dude. You bought the farm, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm glad you're still alive though and real. So thank you. But yeah, J1 is still in the group. But yeah, I don't know. He wanted the PlayStation 5. He wants this Q thing, and I don't know that I don't want it. I just know that I don't want it for $300. And
definitely not.
I think they would. You know, there's a point, right? Depending on the hardware and how much it's costing for them to make this thing. If they could profit $20 on this thing, if they sold it for $150, they will move so many of these that they'll make more money than if they profit $100 and sell them for $200. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if the price is right, they're gonna move a lot of these. But if it's not right, it's just gonna fucking sit on shelves.
My concern is that this thing's going to be $300 and then they're going to be like, you need this super fucking A-tier spec wireless router for you to be able to get the 1080p 60 hertz or whatever that they were saying you could get with God of War Ragnarok. And it's like, okay, so now you're telling me that I got to buy a $300 handheld and I need a fucking $300 wireless router for this thing to work too?
And I got to have the highest speed internet at my house. They got to pay for monthly.
Well, you wouldn't need that for local streaming, right? But at the same time, it's like, how many people have, one of these super top spec routers, wireless routers that can really handle the bandwidth that I would imagine you would need for something like this? I don't know.
Not a lot of them.
We haven't seen any spec that come out that says, for you to get this fucking primo experience of streaming God of War at 1080p 60 hertz, you got to have at least an AC router or something like that. Like, I don't know. We don't know. So I'm very anxious, and that's why I want the price to be even cheaper, because it's like, okay, well, if I got to upgrade my router and shit too, like, this thing better be budget friendly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, but it's interesting.
It is interesting, and like I said though, we could have predicted that it's going to be under $300, dude. Like, in fact, we might have. I'm more curious about the PlayStation Slim, if it's going to have a disc drive built in, or if it's just going to have the port and they're going to sell you a disc drive for $100 or something.
Which would be cool. If you get a digital version of the PS5 for $300, I'd fucking buy another one tomorrow, just to have like a second one in case mine goes bad or something like that. You know, because mine already is acting kind of fucking
do it
weird.
just for another
Pisses me
controller.
off.
I mean, technically the controllers are $80, $70, right? So you're really getting the system for, you know, if it's $300, you're getting it for $230.
Sure.
You can look at it that way and justify it, you know.
Anyway, moving on. So mobilegamer.biz reported this past week that Michael, it's spelled Michael. I assume it's not pronounced Michael. I'm sure it's probably like Mikhail or something like that. Katkov. It sounds very Eastern European. He was the managing director of Savage Game Studios, who was the mobile developer recently acquired by Sony. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he's leaving the company already, and this game studio was only acquired by Sony. It wasn't even acquired a year ago. And so this is kind of interesting that this guy is already leaving, because it's a little bit sort of sus, but the Mikhail or Mr. Katkov, however you want to pronounce it, he posted on his LinkedIn and he said, quote, "I'd like to believe I've done my fair part in taking the company from 0 to 1. Now I'm eager to watch from the side as Najim and Mike take it from 1 to 100, who I assume are the other two leads of the company or something, or whoever's taking over for him." This is an interesting sort of quote because it really is kind of gray as opposed to like as far as like what is the nature of his leaving the company. Was he fired? Did he decide to leave on his own? Because you have to imagine like he had some contract that was more than a few months or 8 months or whatever working at this company. So it's really weird that he left already. And I know Sony really wants to get into the mobile space and they really want to make some like top tier mobile games, and Savage was sort of their way into that. And this guy, I guess, was like kind of part of the puzzle when Sony wanted to get into this, and now he's gone. So I don't know what's going on here, and I'm interested to see what happens. Not because I have any interest really in playing mobile games. There are exactly 2 mobile games that I care about, and that is Hitman Go and Lara Croft Go. Those are the only 2 fucking mobile games. I played on my honeymoon for a little bit. I played Hearthstone, but other than that, the only 2 that are like enjoyable for me are those 2, Hitman and Lara Croft Go. Those games are fucking A tier mobile games. But other than that, I'm not a big mobile fan. I don't know how you feel about this, Fred, but it's kind of weird that this guy is just sort of gone.
Yeah, it's strange. I almost read it like, of course, me always going to the worst case scenario that this guy thought he was doing a good job. And Sony pulls him aside and says, "Listen, man, you haven't done shit here. Like, you've taken the company to 1. Like, you should be moving faster than this. In fact, so-and-so and so-and-so are going to be taking over." And in a spiteful comment, he's like, "Yeah, well, I took the company to 1. These guys are going to take it to 100, apparently." You know, like, so, like, I wonder if there's some bad blood there. And this is, like, a subtle way of, like, taking a jab at what happened. It's really weird that he would just be like, because like taking a company to 1 is not something that you would say, because that number 1 that shows that they have 99 left to go where they're at. I do wonder
if there is a little bit of a, I don't want to say language barrier here, but like maybe like if this guy is not like a native English speaker or something.
Sure,
like
we have to consider
he writes very well. Like his English, this statement seems very well written, but like maybe like his metaphor, it isn't quite landing. You know what I mean? Like I think he's just basically saying like, I did my fair share getting the company started. Now these guys have to sort of get the game going. And It's like, okay, like I sort of kind of understand the statement from that perspective a little bit more. But yeah, like what you're saying, it's like he went from 0 to 1, but these other guys have to do fucking 99% of the work.
That's how it reads.
Okay, well, then what did you do?
Right.
Did you
just hire some people? Like, did you just hire some other people for the company?
It's very strange. So this whole thing is kind of strange. That's why I kind of put it in here. But
well, I understand.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
I understand Sony's interest in mobile gaming. I mean, if you want to get real, like Genshin Impact started off as a mobile game. I know that you can play Octopath on mobile. I know that, with the power of these phones and stuff, a lot of these games can be played on mobile. Now, you're not going to play like the fucking Last of Us Part 2 or God of War Ragnarok or even Horizon or any of those Sony IP games on a mobile device. Just isn't going to happen unless you're streaming. But dude, like, there definitely is a market there. And part of me is curious. PlayStation's push for games as a service, how many of their titles are going to be mobile market games? Or cross. I've never even considered it till this news article, because like you're right, like their push is all places, and I don't know if they specifically said they I know they've said that they've had games as services in development, like from many studios, but I don't know that they've specifically said that they were all console games. So maybe a majority of them are going to be mobile games, and maybe they're going to follow in the path of Genshin Impact with a couple of them, these gacha kind of style games, which I don't know if that qualifies as games as a service, but they might have a gacha element to them. And if they do, that game has trailblazed that genre. So it's a double-edged sword. Like if you do a game like that, you're competing with that game. So you're not going to win over that crowd, right? So I don't know, man. I never considered some of these games as a service games being mobile games, but I suppose that's something we need to think about. So I don't know. And of course a mobile game is going to work on PlayStation, you know what I mean? But like, if it's being made to run on mobile, then does that speak to the quality that we're going to get on console for those kind of games? So I don't know, man. Just some food for thought.
I don't know. It's strange. Anyway, so I don't imagine that a majority of the live service games are going to be mobile, just because they only have one mobile studio.
I bet you there's one at least, though, one or two.
And there hasn't been much talk of them doing any second party mobile efforts. But anyway, moving on. So apparently Spider-Man 2 is going to be at Comic-Con on July 20th. Insomniac Games tweeted out that, quote, "Let's get symbiotic. We're thrilled to announce Marvel's Spider-Man 2 will be at San Diego Comic-Con 2023. Catch our panel Symbiotic Relationships featuring Insomniacs and actors from the game in Hall H on Thursday, July 20th. So we don't know what all this means, if it's just a panel where they're going to talk about the game or if they're going to show anything off. I don't know. But I don't know if you remember when the first Spider-Man came out, they fucking marketed the shit out of it. Like, it was everywhere. You couldn't fucking avoid it. They showed so much of that game before it came out. Like, I didn't watch like any of it because it was just everywhere. And I wonder if they're going to be doing the same thing leading up to Spider-Man 2. If that's the case, I probably will not be watching anything regarding Spider-Man because I know that I'm going to play it. I know it's going to be good. I don't need to watch all this fucking breakdowns of how the game works and having them ruin story elements for me and characters that are in it and all this kind of stuff. But I'm just curious if you have any interest or opinions on San Diego Comic-Con 2023 having a panel about Spider-Man.
Being as it's a Comic-Con thing, and Spider-Man's already grossly invested in the comic book world, it's where he got his roots. I wouldn't be surprised if they announce, I know we've already had some prelude comics and stuff, but like if there's some sort of one last promotional item that's either handed out or discussed, some sort of cross-comic thing that continues the story or maybe even gives you a little more than what we've already gotten. And Comic-Con is a really big deal. It was like a phenomenon for a while when the Geekverse or the Nerdverse or whatever kind of got a lot of attention by news media and stuff. But it's still very well attended, and I think it's a smart move for them to do this here, to have a panel. Why it's like the perfect marriage of video games and comics. I mean, it's Spider-Man, dude. You can't go wrong. I don't know what they would say here that would be exclusive to this panel. They might field some questions. Maybe there'll be a Q&A session. They're probably still going to be very guarded about the story. We already have a release date for it, so I don't know that we're going to get much more information. We might get some more gameplay footage or something. You know what I mean? Or maybe like a little story beat or something in a cutscene. But I wouldn't expect much out of this. But I think it's smart for PR.
Yeah, I'm sure it's smart for PR. I just will not personally be partaking in any of this content. So, but that's cool. I mean, I'm sure that it will have a lot of neat information. I know people like kind of seeing the voice actors and hearing them talk about the game and everything. So that'll be very interesting. Moving on. The last couple of news points here will be pretty quick. I just wanted to make a comment. We did talk about Diablo 4 a little bit earlier. Their first season, because Diablo 4 is now, like I mentioned, it's a full-on live service game. It's basically like it's on the Destiny trajectory, basically. And their first season comes out July 20th, actually coincidentally the same date as the Spider-Man thing. And it's going to be called Season of the Malignant. And apparently it's going to let's see here. I can sorry.
Jesus.
So this is off of Push Square. They say that in Season of the Malignant, players will investigate a mysterious illness plaguing the people of Sanctuary with the aid of Cormund, a former priest of the Cathedral of Light. Cormund, versed in all kinds of unsanctioned practices, will teach you how to harvest malignant hearts and convert them to build altering powers. So it seems like these malignant hearts are sort of like special types of sockets or socketable items that you can use with your gear that'll give you some sort of like interesting new abilities in the end game. This is a post campaign content, so you have to beat the game, I think, before you have access to this. So whether or not I'll get to it before the season is over, I don't know. I still have to beat the game. I'm on act like fucking 3 of 8 or some shit like that, even though I've been playing the game forever. So yeah, this is interesting. I'll be curious to see how the first season goes, because the seasonal model, I mean, if you're going to abide by this, you really got to deliver every single season. And I'm curious if they'll be able to keep it up, because it takes them forever to make fucking Diablo games. So will they be able to keep up with the seasonal content as often as people are going to want it in this new live service strategy? So yeah, I'm curious. I know, Fred, you are not playing Diablo 4, but it's so this doesn't really affect you. But how do you feel just in general about more games that we love adopting these sort of seasonal strategies with this like live service stuff and everything?
I'm regrettably not playing Diablo 4. I would like to. My concern is kind of this. It is like I can't play Destiny because I didn't get in from the ground up. And it's like, if I truly want to enjoy Diablo 4, do I fucking have to get in now? Or is it forever hold my peace? Like, how are they going to manage this?
I don't know if they do sunset like the main campaign and story arc and all that, it won't probably be for years. So if you jumped in relatively soon, I'm sure you would be fine. It would be really bizarre for them to just like eliminate the main story of the game. But Destiny did it. But of course, it's been like 8 years since that game came out. So it's not like it's, fresh. But yeah, I get you. This could easily turn into one of those situations where like the story develops over all these seasons, and now suddenly it's completely different than what it was when I started out, and now they don't have the OG campaign and all this stuff. Well, I don't know if they can do that with the Diablo model, but I guess we'll have to find out.
Well, it's just scary because like even the Division was hard for me to keep up with if I didn't get the expansions, right? You get these expansions, you pay for them, and then it's like you got to item tracking, inventory, what are the new drops, what are the new weapons that you can try to go grind to get, what are this, and then what is the best thing, and then you get in a group with other fucking players who can spend 6,000 hours grinding, and they're so much better than you are, and they've got all this shit, and then you just feel completely like you can't run shit with people because you're just not good enough, and then it just becomes this big fucking like race to the like who can have the best shit at all times. And like if there's story with all of these seasons and cutscenes and shit that like you can, it's like the same problem that I have with Apple, and you'll hear me out. It's just like I've talked about upgrading the Mac OS, right? And you just kind of have to upgrade to the most recent. So if you skip a couple, you got to upgrade to the most recent, and then they roll out, oh, well, this changed, this changed, this changed, this changed. Some of the changes that they're changing are changes to the previous version that you never had. And it's just like, if I personally can't draw and connect all the dots to figure out what the fuck I'm playing and what's been updated and what they got rid of and at what parts of the story are still relevant, or like, it is. And then the issue that they had with Destiny is they rolled out some of the story content just online. And it's just like, you got to fucking be following the online shit too. Like, what some of these, they had those, I don't even know what they called them, those cards or whatever, where you just fucking learned more about the world and shit and about the wars that have happened. And it's just like, dude, there's just so much. And like you said, I don't know if Diablo's going to do this. And I don't know what other games are going to adopt this season of this. Like Warzone has this shit. And it's just like, Warzone season 5, but 6, and maybe it's just too complicated for my peon brain. But like, dude, like you get into some of these fucking games, and with these expansions, the UI and the menus playing these games, you're like, do I fucking have Battle Pass or don't I have Battle Pass? And then they're like, oh, you can unlock this and this and this with Battle Pass, and you press a fucking button and you're like, did I just fucking buy Battle Pass? I don't know what I just fucking did, because then the screen changes and it's like there's this unlock bar and it's like, did I just fucking make a payment? And it's just like, you don't even fucking know what's going on. It's like, I just want to play a goddamn game. Like, I understand the excitement, but I approach this with extreme caution. And like the thing is like, I feel as me as a gamer, a 42-year-old gamer who has very limited time, when they start rolling out seasons, that's when I start pulling away even a little more. Or I go all in. It's one or the other. Either I'm fucking all in and I'm on this ride with you guys, or I've got my fill with the base game and I'm not fucking doing this shit. Like, I'm just going to let it go. Or I just don't even get into it, because by the time I'm ready to play Diablo 4, they're going to be on like fucking season 4 or something. And it's going to be called like Plague of the Dastard, and it's going to be like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? Like, are these season titles just meant to attract you? Is it just going to be like, what does it mean? That's the thing. Like, I don't know what this means. I get confused with the season things, and it means something different depending on the game.
All they're doing is they're just stringing you along, right? They want you to stay engaged. They want you to buy more. They want you to play more.
Is there more content?
That's all that it is. Yeah.
Like what though?
When there's a new season, it's like
drops?
Oh, there's
maps?
There's new missions. There's new
and that's
items.
The trouble,
there's new whatever.
You start running these fucking missions, and then they roll out a new one, and then before you know it, you're a first-time buyer Diablo 4, and you're on season 6 now because you can't play season 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and they're referencing fucking missions from season 3, and you're just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't like it, man. So you got to get in from the foundation to really appreciate and enjoy it. And I'm sure it's going to be cool as shit, but dude, I don't think this play style is for me. I'm 42, dude, and I've got so much shit going on, so many irons and so many fires. I can't dedicate that kind of time. And I know the company wants me there with them because they're excited about it, and they've got something they want to share and a story to tell. And like, you know, they want to have you playing their game and get their playtime up on their servers so they can fucking brag about it on the internet. And like, dude, it's just give me a game. Give me a game. Games of service can work. I just don't think that it's me, dude. I don't think I'm the audience for this. I don't know. But I am the audience for Diablo. Like, I didn't buy it yet because I'm thinking Final Fantasy next. You know what I mean? Like, Diablo's on my list. Like, I liked the demo. I thought it was cool. I don't know. It is. I'm fucking done. All right. Whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I do understand, and I feel your pain on the seasonal stuff, but I think that there is still, with games like Diablo and Destiny, the gameplay loop is so good that there is still a reason to get in. You just have to get in knowing that you're not going to see everything and do everything. Like, if you're one of those people that has to see and do everything, it's never going to work for you,
dude. As long as
if you want to just get in, yeah,
I just want to understand. Like, I want to know why I'm gonna go try to fight this guy, right? Like in Destiny, they don't give you the backstory. You're just supposed to fucking know it. Like, if they were like, oh, in season 3, there was a mission where you had to do this, this, and this, and now this guy's returned in season 6. He's been raised from the fucking dead, and now you're on a mission to take him out. This is your new mission. Then I'm like, all right, I'm fucking all in. Just let me know why. That's all I want to know. Like, why am I doing these things? Like, don't just be like, oh, so-and-so is back from the dead, and I have to kill him. It's like, yeah, but who is he? Like, why was he even a threat to begin with? Like, I'm a story guy, man. Like, I want those beats. And they should, you know, every time they close the curtain on a season, they should do like a write-up on all the things that happened. Right? And just make it public. Like, okay, so this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. If you played through the season, this is where the story's at now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. We have yet to see how they're going to maintain the, like, what is going to be canon. And I mean, it's all canon, I guess, but what is going to be important to the overall story and what's not going to be within the seasonal stuff.
I'm just
do
so
I
scared.
have to really play it? I don't know.
Because of Destiny,
yeah, I guess
dude.
we'll have to see.
Like LJ.
Destiny's problem is that they changed the way the game plays so much since the beginning that it's really hard to know like what all the currencies are and what all this shit is when you first jump in. And there is no, like, there is story, but when you jump in, you're like fucking 8 years late to the story. Because they vaulted all of the original story content for the game. If you could play all the original story content and then continue playing all the new stuff, you'd be fine. But you can't play the old stuff.
Right.
That's the problem that Diablo has to avoid. You can't just vault the old shit. You have to leave it there forever.
It'd be like
you
literally, dude, it'd be like in real life, like if they put me in a cryo chamber and they fucking woke me up in 2092 and they were like, okay, go to work. And I'd be like, what? Oh, yeah, you got to jump on the blah, 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 and teleport over to here. And then, like, in real life, they're like, oh, yeah, you got to use this device. You know, it's an implant we gave you. Just use it and get to the such and such. And then, you know, you got to touch base with the AI synth that's running the fucking thing. And I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, how did this end up like this? And that's how you feel when you play fucking Destiny for the first time. You're just like, okay, I'm in this fucking world. Everything is fucking different and awesome. But what is my purpose here? Like, how do I even integrate into this? Like, there's a lot of, like, integration issues for new players, dude. I don't know. It fucking has me nervous. I love, if I were to, I don't even play fucking Diablo. If I had to pick between Diablo and Destiny, not even playing Diablo 4, just because of the aesthetic of Diablo, the dungeon shit, I'm all fucking in. Give me Diablo over Destiny, even though Destiny is amazing. Yeah. And just because of the aesthetic and the grim dark, the fucking, like, you know, fucking demons and fucking all that spooky ass medieval shit with swords and, like, dude, I'm in. on that alone.
Yeah, I wish they talk about how like, oh well, maybe they vault all that old stuff because they don't want the game size to be even bigger than it already is. Well, it's like, then what you should do is you should have like
a download option.
They should have a download option for like, okay, here's a unsupported version of the game that you can download, and all it has is that old shit in it. And if you want to play it, go ahead. But it's not supported. It's not patched. It's not whatever. It's just available. It could be called like fucking Destiny 2 OG or something like that. And it has everything up through fucking Beyond Light or something.
And listen.
And it's like, that would be fine.
And before the listeners write in and say just YouTube it, there's a video of the story of Destiny, and it's like 14 hours long or some shit. And it's the most perplexing thing to try to stomach and watch. Like you can't just YouTube the shit. And I could YouTube gameplay, but if I'm going to do that, then why the fuck am I even playing the game? Right? If I'm just going to fucking watch someone else play the game and go through the story, then what's in it for me? Like, I want to do it. That's why I like to play video games. Like, I want to be the guy that does it. You know, I don't know. Dude, YouTube is fine for some things, but you shouldn't have to rely on it to know the fucking story of a fucking game. Like, it's ridiculous. I just hope that, I hope that Activision learns from, that is the weakest point of Destiny, is no one knows what the fuck's going on. Like, I'm sure people do, man, but like casual gamers do not know. They don't have a fucking clue. There's no way. It's impossible to know as a casual gamer what the fuck is going on in Destiny. Impossible to understand it.
It's pretty wild.
All right. Anyways, dude. This next news point, you want me to talk about this since I put it on here? Or no? Do you want to just bring it up?
Yeah, so the blog, PlayStation blog, they put out so like a gameplay kind of combat trailer for details about Helldivers 2 and how the co-op and the gameplay and the combat works. And looks fucking dope. I don't know if it's a game for me just because I'm not a co-op guy, but it looks awesome. It looks really fun to play. I'm not going to lie. It's third person. It's not top down, which, you know, we kind of knew based on the showcase. But people were suspecting, oh, well, maybe that was just a trailer. Maybe it is actually top down. But, like, this fucking shows you playing third person in it, which is, it looks awesome. Dude,
there's something way cool about this. And I will be in from the ground up on Helldivers 2, and I hope it's awesome. And I'll say this, like I still have my reservations about the change in perspective. I still hold to my previous statements about this on whatever episode it was. But I gotta say this, seeing those stratagems get called in from outer space in first person or third person is fucking dope. Those big fucking things that you throw the fucking grenade, and it's like a beacon for your drop ship to shoot down fucking gear for you, or like turrets. Seeing those fucking drop in up close in third person is gnarly and cool as shit. It's like the fucking sand comes up and it feels like the ground fucking shakes, and this thing kind of breaks down, and it's got this fucking turret like shooting the enemies and stuff. And then they said that like a big part of it too is, you know, friendly fire is definitely still on for this game. And you can mow your own teammates down pretty quickly on accident. So they've retained that, which I am excited about. And I just don't know how body points and stuff work. I mean, in the original game, dude, it was like 2 shots and you were dead. Like you just almost instant death almost if you take any damage. So I don't know. In a third person environment, man, it's going to be way easier to have friendly fire fucking people up, I think, than it would be on a top down. But we'll see. Maybe people just have to get good. You know what I mean? I'm excited for it. It looks cool as shit, dude. All right. Well, before we go on to the closing section of the game, I just want to spit out a show topic for our next show, Jake. I want to have a show topic, and I want the listeners to give us some feedback here. I've had in real life this happen multiple times where someone will come up to me and say, hey, man, I'm getting a PS5. What game should I get? Singular. What game should I get? I want to know what the listeners would recommend. And you can't know what kind of a gamer the person is, right? And you can't hide behind that. Be like, well, it depends. If they like this, then you get them this. If they like that, you get them this. And then you get to pick one fucking game. It's an adult. It's not like a child. What game do you recommend someone coming back into gaming who's buying a PS5 to try first? That'll be our show topic next week. You guys let me know what you would pick and why, and we'll talk about it all next week. So that's my assignment for you all. New games coming to the PlayStation Network. And we do this every episode, and this is a little bit longer of an episode. I'm surprised this one's a little longer. We've had a lot of discussion. Started off kind of slow, talking about golf and shit, but we've been through the thick of it. Now we're closing out here. New games coming July 11th. Rain World Downpour on PS5, PS4. The Valiant on PS5, PS4. July 12th. Mordhau on PS5, PS4. Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals on PS5, PS4. Sea Horizon on PS5. July 13th. Atelier Marie Remake. The Alchemist of Salzburg on PS5, PS4. Ed-0 Zombie Uprising, PS5. Gravity Circuit on PS5, PS4. Naraka BLADEPOINT. We talked about this in the show today. PS5. Operation Wolf Returns. Man, first mission VR. I don't think this is going to be a fucking remake. It's probably going to be dude, fucking Operation Wolf. Do you remember this game? I think I've talked about this. Dude, it was an arcade game, and it was a arcade game where like you had a reticule. It was first person, but you just had a reticule. And you didn't have an actual gun, like a light gun. It was a reticule, and you just fucking shoot at the bad guys. And it was like a stagnant screen, and bad guys would just kind of pop up, and you get missiles coming at you. You'd have to shoot them with the reticule. But like every time it would sequence until you put your quarter in. It'd show you the beginning, little intro, and then it'd go back to the title, and then the voice would be distorted. It'd go, Operation Wolf. And it was so fucking cool. Dude, this was an arcade gem for me. First mission VR, there's no way it's going to be like high def or anything, but dude, I got to get me some Operation Wolf in. Fuck, that's awesome. July 14th, Exo Primal, PS5 and PS4. Those are the games. Jake, do you have anything about any of these that you're stoked on?
I'm curious how that Exo Primal game is going to play. And obviously, we talked about Naraka BLADEPOINT earlier. I have a passing interest in that. But the Exo Primal game is that one where you're like fucking just fighting hordes of dinosaurs. So I'm kind of interested in how that lands. But other than that, there isn't really a whole lot here that's like killing me with the joy. Oh my God. I'm looking at Operation Wolf Returns on YouTube, and you're going to get some volume issues. Hold on one second.
Rated T for teen.
I wish I knew if I could play the volume on here. So they show the trailer. It's a little to come down. Oh my God. They're showing the game. Yes. Hold on. And then are we going to get 2023 VR? Oh, dude. Yes. It says nothing has changed. First mission VR, dude. It's a shooting game, and it's on rails, and it's exactly...
Yeah, it's like one of those like Area 51 type games or whatever from the arcade. But it looks like you're going to be able to play it in VR. That's cool. It looks like they like cel shaded it or something to kind of bring the graphics into this era. But
it wasn't 3D like this. I think they're saying nothing changed, meaning like you were a badass in 83, and it's like nothing changed. It's like a wave shooter, dude. You go through all these different fucking waves. Dude. I'm definitely if it comes back that the tracking's good on this game. Oh fuck, dude, this is cool as shit. I'm definitely gonna play it. If for anything, for the nostalgia's sake. Weapon feedback and sounds were so cool. Oh, they did have a weapon. Sorry, they did have a weapon on the original game. I'm sorry. I remember playing it on NES too. They had it on Nintendo or Genesis or something where it was just a controller. But they did have a little Uzi or something you could play with, and there was feedback. You'd shoot it and it'd vibrate. It was cool as shit, dude, in the arcade. Enough. Listeners don't give a shit about Operation Wolf. I do. All right, dude. So that's it. Do you have anything closing, Jake, that you want to say before we crack out of here?
Nope.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Just a reminder, listeners, what is the game? What is the game you would give somebody, or you would tell somebody you would tell them to get? What is the game? Doesn't have to be exclusive to Sony, but it has to run on a PS5. What is the first game you would recommend somebody play? That's your task. All right. So thanks for tuning in again to PS This Is Awesome PlayStation Podcast, episode 284. We do this every week, every Monday. If you are a patron of the show, you sometimes will get the show early. Not always. We don't make that promise, but your dollar a month goes a long ways for us. It helps us, and it kind of gives us that vigor that we need to keep on the rails. But outside of that, thanks for tuning in. If you guys don't have any money to spare, we get it. We're adults also, and we have lots of bills. So I know exactly where you guys are at too. So there's no hard feelings, no love lost. It's appreciated, but never expected. So we're going to sign out here. We'll see you next Monday. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today, and we'll be back next week with 185 or 285 G's. So like Scribblenauts, Sekiro, and Sea of Stars. P.S.
Yes.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.